Hello, my name's Acidical Portal, and welcome to this next video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about stuff that has been on my mind and that I feel needs to be addressed because it is something that I experience and, well, a lot of people go through, but not as many people are as fortunate as I am. So, what I'm saying is I want to talk about college today, the education system, that kind of stuff. And I suspect because I have a lot to say, this is going to be a longer video. So, fundamentally, the education system as we know it, we have the impression that, and I have rats in the background, by the way, so they're kind of loud and noisy sometimes. I apologize. But if you think about what the education system is meant to do, um, we can prove time and time again that throughout our modern history, at least, uh, there are still an alarming amount of extremely ignorant people in the United States, and people that seem to not even know basic uh, like fundamentals, like not learning about like taxes, not learning cursive. I actually don't know cursive. Um, Not even knowing like certain math. Like, but it's not even just that. It's that people uh are more susceptible, that are not critical thinkers. People are more uh able to be exploited. And there are just so many people that I think that are able to be ruined or taken advantage of. And in a society that claims to be, on certain outlets, the best country in the world, or that it is somehow more advanced than other countries, is honestly kind of needs to be thought about twice. Uh, I usually don't talk about my opinions because, well, I don't like to get into that domain, but I suspect with this, because it's not politics, and it's not uh, religion, that kind of stuff, very sensitive personal area. It's still something that's personal because most, if not all of us, have gone to school. But um, oh, I'm sorry. So I wanted to start off with my experience in school and why I chose not to go to college. I may someday, but I need several years to evolve who I am, think about who I am, that kind of stuff. But I want to start with something very basic that a lot of people may or may not know about. So, the school that I went to, I live in the state of Maine. I live in a very tucked away corner in the United States. Uh, it's kind of that state where everyone, if we were to look at the United States as this kind of four-legged creature, you would see Maine as kind of the animal's head, but not a lot of people know the names to, unless you know, memorize cartography or you visit Maine, that kind of stuff. Um, but the school I went to specifically was a blue ribbon school, and the National Blue Ribbon School programs is rewarded for schools that have the best education systems. And I'm going to get into it. It's for the best education systems in the country, the best, uh, information, the best programs, the highest quality um, of treatments. and within staff and in students, um, and just like as a system as a whole. But what is interesting to me is at my school, I remember in a pep rally, I'm sure you know what that is. I remember in one of my pep rallies that in school, they were saying that they are rewarded as in the top 300 best schools in the United States. And if we're going to look at how many schools, well, K through 12, how many schools are in the US? There's 115,000 schools by uh, where wearyteachers.com says that. And I wouldn't see any reason why they're wrong. This is just statistical. But if there's 115,000 schools in the United States, and there's 19,000 uh, towns, that means per average there could be like 1 to 6 towns per every town in the United States. Now I know that's a simplification and that's not 100% accurate, but I think the fact that I still, even though that this was considered one of the best schools in the United States, the fact that I feel like I have not learned anything, the fact that I don't feel like I have improved from school in that sense, disturbs me. The fact that it is rewarded as one of the best public institutions in the United States, which in a sense is true, but this is the problems that I'm talking about, and I'm going to get into even more. I mean, think about it this way. Uh, we think of school as a place that is meant to educate us into the topics that we want to learn. It is meant to put us into these systems and make us more better people, make us free, three. I can't talk right now. Sorry, free thinking, that kind of stuff. But what if I were to told you that the original idea of school in the early 1900s, when public school institution, when the Department of Education in the United States made it a law that all children must, well, not a law, but policy, whatever, that all children must go to public institutions. And one of these leaders, one of these very important figures uh, of this time was Horace Mann. Now, this guy's interesting because he's kind of responsible for a lot of how our public institutions work. And they're honestly not that different from when it started. Um, we still sit in a classroom, we still have desks, we still have to ask to use the bathroom. In some schools, we still have to wear uniforms. Very structured, very restricted, and very formal and very authoritarian. Now, Horace Mann, I'm sure he was a nice guy, but his ideas honestly make me question as if we're kind of meant to be controlled or not. And I don't mean that in like a conspiracy theory way, but the uh, public institutions of school was actually uh, trying to, it was meant to be structured off of the Prussian system, uh, that how Prussia used it. And that country was very uh, not capitalistic at all. Let's just say that, and very restricted to believing and not questioning authority, that kind of stuff. I mean, think about it. We're told in school to listen to the teacher, to not talk, to not say anything, to not stand up, have a teacher in front of us that is uh, kind of meant to be kind of our authority figure that we look up to, but they're just people, just like the rest of us. And what I think the problem with that is it doesn't allow for people to question. It doesn't allow for people to have free thought. Sorry. It doesn't allow for people to think independently because we're told to think inside the box. I mean, how backwards is that? To be told to think inside of what other people have already crafted for us. See, school was not made to make us free thinkers. It was not made for us to be critical thinkers. It was made for us to conform to society's needs and to make us good workers in society, not to make us educated. If you think about the things that it teaches, these are not inherently bad things. But school doesn't teach us things like life skills that we actually need to survive in the world. It doesn't teach us, for example, it doesn't teach us certain fundamentals, like how to question things. It doesn't teach us, or if it does teach us, it only teaches us a very limited amount of these things. It doesn't teach us to think for ourselves. It doesn't teach us to create our own path in life. It doesn't teach us um, like what our interests are. It doesn't teach us to find what we're passionate about. These very fundamental things. It's like it sucks all the creativity out of people. If you think about it, and a lot of channels have discussed this, that when we're children, we are insanely curious about everything. We ask why, we ask why, we ask why. About literally everything. We're annoying and, well, for good reasons. Uh, I hate children. I think they're kind of annoying, but if I were to say that one thing I like about them is that they're curious because there's a lot of adults that don't really give a shit um, about things like that. I feel like school, and this is just from my personal experience, that school is made to have children not question. It's made to make learning seem boring, in which that is tragic. I mean, as humans, our purpose is to learn and to evolve. But when you fundamentally strip that aspect of us, where we do not ask questions anymore, where we stop questioning our own reality, we stop questioning uh, how we can improve, we stop questioning like our lives, we just become compliant to what society wants us to be. We're more susceptible to believing in bullshit. We're more susceptible to not thinking for ourselves and just thinking. And the internet, which is also an amazing thing, but can be used in terrible ways, um, we're a lot more susceptible to lies and false information. Uh, and we are not crafted to critically think. Um, I mean, I know people, and there's nothing wrong with this, but I know people that believe in astrology signs. I was actually at BAM not too long ago, and I was like, and I remember asking this lady, I was like, "Hey, do you know where your astronomy section is? Because I'm really interested in astronomy, that kind of stuff." And she's like, "Oh, do you mean astrology?" And I'm like, "No, astronomy. I want to find astronomy books." And she's like, "Oh, well, our astrology section is our most popular and most fast growing section." And I'm like, I didn't, I was obviously polite. I was like, okay, thank you. Eventually she led me to, the section of sciences and all that stuff. But I was thinking to myself, this is the most popular growing section. Not because it's true, not because astrology is actual science, but it's because it's something that people like to believe in, not necessarily because it actually is, but believing is wanting something to be true if it is or isn't true. That's what believing is. And I think most people, I mean, like the fact that like astronomy is a lot less on that line is just okay. Like, first of all, I love science. I mean, that's like my MO. I don't really do a bunch of it on this channel, but I educate like a lot of like stuff on Roblox Studio because I like using Roblox Studio. But like I genuinely, oh, my computer shelf, I genuinely get fulfillment out of teaching people things, showing people things, doing something that I can show people. Um, like doing things where I can educate people in some way makes me happy. That's why I'm starting my math series, all that stuff. But I just do it like I'm no expert, okay? There's a lot of things I don't know in Roblox Studio. I'm just some guy that happens to really like Roblox and uh, I want to teach other people so they can become better and excel and become better than I am. That's what I want in people. I want people to be educated. I want people to learn. You see, the education system I think sucks, but I don't think education itself sucks. I think education itself is critical to being informed, to being able to think a lot more fluidly. I mean, these things, knowing about these things that I'm very passionate about, has given me a better sense in the world. And a lot of this shit I've learned online. I have not learned like 95% of this stuff from school, and I don't think I would at college either. Speaking of which, I have quite a few friends that are about my age. I'll be 20 this year, 20 years old, and some of these people are already at college, and I'm not. And I think my best friend, or well, I guess they're kind of my best friend, but anyways, I was talking with them about how upset they are at college, that they cry, that they feel like nobody actually listens to what they want, and they don't feel passionate about what they're doing. They don't feel like as if what they're doing that is something that they actually value deep down. See, because we live in a consumeristic society, such that is capitalism, we value things that are superficial because we're programmed and told from a young age that these things matter. And in a sense, they do, but they're not everything. We value money. A lot of people value money more than they do themselves. A lot of people, I don't like to say the word most, but a lot of people value status, value things like having a degree. We see that as a status symbol, like a trophy, a level that somehow makes them superior to people that could know way more than they do, but don't have any formal education. See, I don't claim to know everything, and I would never will because that would be inherently dishonest. I just claim what I do know, and I'm not going to pretend like I know everything. I'm not even going to pretend like I know everything about all of the issues in the world or the education system, but to what I've experienced and to what I know, it has been stressful. It has made me feel physically upset. I mean, the fact that we value grades over actual intellect is disgusting to me. The fact that we value value people's worth on a piece of paper, a grade, more than we do their actual intellect. You see, I have ADHD and I have autism, but in school it was a lot harder for me. And I was put in this program as if I was devalued in a sense, a special needs program that made me feel as if I was not worth what I should have been. I knew just as much, if not more, about a lot of the topics that were preached in school, a lot of the things that the honor students, the students that worked very hard and cared about those grades, did. But you see, it was people that conformed to the system, people that pleased the system with high A's that would get scholarships, that would get money, and to be able to going into college, which is just more school. It's you have more freedom in a sense, but at the same time, it's not really that different. Except now you're paying for it. You're paying a bit too much for it. I don't know. Only 45,000 a year. Um, you have to remember that college is a business. It's not a uh, public. It's a private, or a lot of it is private, but it's still a business. Um, I mean, public college is less expensive, but still uh, expensive to the point where you're in debt, and you don't really have control of that money. Um, and I think it's stupid that people like pressure teenagers, 18-year-olds. You don't know what you're going to do at 18 years old for the rest of your life. You're not even out of your teens yet, and you're already saying go to college, go to college, go to college. And it's like there's this barrier in between, I think, the people that push this and the adolescent people themselves, like parents, for example. Fortunately, I had a talk with my grandparents that I lived with, and they were very understanding, and I have tremendous respect for them. But I know that a lot of people do not have that same privilege that I did with having understandable family members. I mean, I feel like a lot of parents or older family members or even siblings, friends, whatever, will push them because they see it as something that they can't have. They see it as a way that, well, if I didn't have this degree, then my children can have this degree. They can do better than we want, than what we have. But parents don't always know what's right for their children. Pushing something that they don't even know that they want, pushing a degree in someone's face at such a young age. Like, okay, you want to be a doctor, right? Well, you don't really want to be a doctor, but you feel like because it pays well and because it makes a lot of money, yeah, sure, I'll go and get my master's degree. But deep down, it's not something you actually care about. It's not something you're passionate about. It's not something that you actually give a shit about deep down. And then you just feel miserable for the rest of your life. Even though you have a pretty good income, you make 60,000 a year. Was it really worth it? I would say it isn't. I mean, we're not true to ourselves. We're not honest to ourselves. And the people that are, it's like their family pushes these things onto them, and that I think is wrong. Parents don't always know what's best for their children, and they have that misunderstanding. See, I think a lot of the parents, my mom grew up in the 1990s and 80s. A lot of parents have as well. Things were different back then. College was still pretty damn expensive, but at that time, college was not what it is today. Having a degree was actually valuable. But if half of all people in the United States that are my age go to college to begin with, how valuable is that degree? Why do you need a degree for literally everything? Because if everyone has a degree, then it's not so valuable, is it? A degree isn't as valuable when everyone has that degree and that thing. I mean, it's ridiculous, but I'm not one to say that degrees aren't valuable. They are valuable. But if you're not passionate about it, if you don't really feel like you have this degree, okay, you went in business and financing, but that's not something I actually care about. It's not something I'm really interested in. But I have this degree in something that I don't actually really like, but I have it anyway. See, I think what divides us, well, I don't, when I mean us, I mean like regular people. If you're a more wealthy individual, I'm not saying this is an us versus them kind of thing. I'm just saying that are institutions. What divides the rest of the population from the elite, a lot of these private schools that the very wealthy send their children to teach them very different things than the rest of us. You see, these schools teach children that they can do anything in life, that they can be whoever they want to be, and it trains them to be disciplined. It trains them to be critical thinkers. But for the rest of the United States, well, we just kind of sit in a classroom where we don't want to be. We aren't really interested in the subject. We have to learn it anyway, though, if we want to surpass. I mean, there's so many, like like Harvard, for example, uh, medical school. If you're a rich person and you're not that bright, you can get into there pretty easily. I mean, it's a bit expensive, but you can still get in there if you can still pay 75,000 a year. That's about 75. That's about 300,000 in tuition uh, for 4 years. 600,000 for doctorates, unless you have scholarships, that kind of. But anyways, but if you're a regular person, you have to be the brightest, most intelligent, and not even that, but you have to get solids and be perfect in everything. If you want to get into the big boys club, that is. And so you're starting to see at this point how fundamentally broken our society is within teaching people. It gets everything wrong. It teaches us, like in English, it teaches us like things that don't even matter. Like okay, like teaching us about the history of puffins, for example. I remember reading that in a class that I was required to pass. But it's like, what is learning about puffins have to do with anything in my life? What is writing an essay on what do aliens think of what humans are have anything to do with my personal life? Why do I have to learn about a lot of this bullshit that doesn't even matter and will not affect my life? It's like putting a lot of excess crap in front of the stuff that actually does matter and just piling it on so it gives the illusion that the things that you are learning, that 80% of it has value when it actually has no value at all. There are things, though, in school that I did learn that were important, such as being able to count, being able to read, um, being able being able to do CPR on someone, being able to uh, in health class being taught about condoms and birth control, and in some places they don't even do that. But those things that actually matter, the things like um, how to interview for a job, that was another one I learned. That is important. But see, these are things that we need to use within society. These are things that we need to use. But it's a balance, remember. See, in life, we want to be able to function within our society, but at the same time, we want to be able to question it. We want to be able to correct its problems and be able to learn its issues. But if you're too uneducated to think critically, if you're too uneducated to not believe everything you see on propagandic websites that can say whatever they want with people that have no credibility, and they can just get away with whatever they say, or just lie about it because they want to get views. That kind of stuff has unfortunately been the result because I think the education system is so shit. I don't think it's an accident that our public institutions are so physically bad. I don't think that that is an accident. I think that it is intentional, that our system has literally been the same for almost 100 years, that nothing has, well, I don't want to say nothing has changed. A lot of ethics, that kind of stuff has changed. Um, like teachers can't hit, kids anymore, which is good. But what I mean is like the system itself, the actual learning has not changed one bit. Uh, I mean, it acts like it's still 1999, and that like uh, I mean, we use computers to learn things, but we have to learn it within a confined space, whatever the teacher assigns. But all that shit, I can just go to Google, type it up, problem solved. I have Google, I have uh, search engines, and while they're flawed, and I think algorithms can distort information, at least it's over than what we used to have. I mean, the technology that we have is such a great invention that I can just learn everything from it. Or I could go to the library, and there's actually this famous reference, I don't remember, sorry, quote from Good Will Hunting. I don't remember exactly how he says it, but it's like, uh, at least I have $1.50 in a, payments versus $150,000 in tuition going to a college, getting a degree I don't care about, in Good Will Hunting. Um, and it's like, there's truth to that. I mean, see, I could learn science. I could become an expert in the sciences. But I would say that I think it is a form of control to keep people in this system and to keep people out of it as well. But you see, a lot of very successful people, I don't even think were in that system. I mean, look at like a lot of like famous artists. I mean, they went to Hollywood. They dropped out of their normal lives to pursue their dreams. And I'm not saying that's going to happen to everyone, but these people that were so passionate about something that they actually cared about, they made it happen because they cared about it enough to make it happen. They wanted it so bad that it happened. They didn't give a shit about the things that didn't matter. Whilst I think money matters in society, it's not everything. It's not literally, I mean, because we're so consumeristic, we value money. I mean, you see a lot of people, and I was told like by a lot of friends and stuff, like go to college, and it's like, oh, you could pursue this. It pays well. It pays well. Yeah, it pays well. But does it actually make me happy? Is it something that I want to pursue because it's something that I'm passionate about? I'm very passionate about art. I'm very passionate about science. I'm very passionate about teaching people things. I don't need college to teach people things. You know, speaking of which, there's a lot of disinformation nowadays, and there's a lot of ways in which I could, I know that if I wanted to, I could definitely become a bigger channel. Like, uh, you know, having shocking thumbnails and, you know, having a biased response that triggers anger in people. But I fundamentally don't think I want to do that. I think I want, I mean, YouTube is something I'm very passionate about, but I don't think, I think as a result, as a sacrifice of someone who's always going to be true to my audience, um, I'm never going to make something that is dishonest. I'm never going to make something like, I'm never going to make something like clickbait. I'm never going to make something to get views solely because I just want to be true with people. Um, and I don't think that there's enough of that, unfortunately. But there are people out there like me um, that I think are truth seekers as well. See, seeking the truth, ultimately, you're not going to get that in college, I don't think. And I don't regret one bit uh, not going to college. I really don't. I mean, it saved me a lot of stress, and it gave me a lot of room for me to think about what I actually want in life. Okay? Like, it made me realize that I actually really enjoy doing artwork. Um, but yeah, as an overview, I think, I mean, I think our system is just too authoritarian. I think it doesn't allow for people to think, or if it does, it silences them. Uh, I think that our system, it's not about the truth, it's about making people conform. I think it's the destroyer of creativity because the opposite of creativity is conformity. I think it destroys you financially. Um, I think it destroys you emotionally. Uh, and I think it is the chasm of what it ironically shouldn't be. So I think to solve the issue, which if I was in charge of the world and I could make any decision I wanted about education, there'd be a lot of changes. And I mean a lot of changes. First off, uh, there'd be a lot more money spent into actually improving and researching on what makes people happier. First of all, uh, get rid of the wake up at. Okay, I had to wake up at 5:30 a.m. for school, and that's not even a joke. Make it way later than that. That's fucking stupid. Um, make it. Don't make school start until like 10 o'clock. Let people get up, uh, be able to shower, eat, all that stuff. Uh, and when you're actually awake, you actually can think better, believe it or not. Um, just little things and like that. I think hinder people's ability to think. Just these little things. Um, have better food. I mean, it doesn't have to be like class A food, but not put so much salt in it, actually have vitamins, every protein, carbs, that kind of stuff for lunches. Um, Replace fluorescent lights, make it like because fluorescent lights actually cause headaches. Um, that's the physical aspect of it, but the teaching aspect of it, teach shit that matters, like like have like a driver's course lesson, have a writing. I mean, keep the writing, keep the teach kids like be careful around like strangers, that kind of stuff. How to talk to people, um, CPR, safe sex, um, and then as an additional, oh yeah, credit cards, debit cards, that kind of stuff, taxes, and then as an additional, oh yeah, and math, but as an additional, teach science or literature or um, film or a trade such as carpentry, welding, whatever. These like secondary things. And I know that's community college, um, but like fundamental life skills, fundamental things to have a good psychology. Oh yeah, have a class that teaches critical thinking skills, critical emotional skills, so we can actually not get into the traps of addiction, that kind of stuff, and have those as fundamental. Like these are things that we need to learn about, and then have secondary things that people are passionate about. Have a class that allows people to find what they're interested in. Oh yeah, and if I could, I would get rid of the whole desks thing. I would actually add comfortable chairs, dimmer lighting, um, allow students have smaller classrooms, and allow students to talk, communicate with their teachers back and forth, and not just have to raise your hand. Actually have a semblance of connection with the teacher and the learner, because that is important with communication. I think a huge part of it is also communication. Teachers aren't understanding their students. Students aren't understanding their teachers. Um, and we need more of that. I may go to college one day, but I need a lot of time to actually think about what I want in life. I want to travel to different countries. I want to go to different places. I want to pursue my passions. And in the meantime, I'm going to get a low to medium wage job that I can actually, you know, barely live off of, and try to do that to do. And I mean, it's going to be more challenging, but you can beat the system. You can like think outside of the box, which they don't actually show you. Oh yeah, and by the way, not wearing hats in school is fucking stupid. That was a tradition from like the 1900s that is solely outdated. Um, and pledging to America under God, that kind of stuff. Just traditional things that I just think are like twerks. Um, I've said a lot, just pretty much a rant, uh, and my disappointment for it, how I think it has mentally made a lot of people unhealthy, and that I think like I think that like every single one of my friends that have went to college that have said that it's stressful, that it stresses them out, that is a red flag to me. That I think that our systems are failing us. In other countries, they do it a bit differently. A lot of countries, so in Europe, will actually skip several years, like 6 years, and then they will actually go and do college. Because, see, this is the point in our lives where we actually need to think about what we want. Life goes in stages and phases. In our younger phase of life where we're curious, it's not actually a phase. It's uh it's something that's within human nature. But I think when you neuter people of like curiosity, when you get rid of that aspect of them, you're literally removing an aspect of what makes us human to begin with. That's why I think there's so much ignorance within this country. That's why I think that we are not technologically evolving as fast as we could be. That's why I think morally we're so fundamentally divided, um, because we're confused. We don't actually think for ourselves. We listen to charlatans that claim the truth. We listen to people. We listen to the news, that is largely propagandic, um, and I think a lot of it is to blame with our education system. To be honest, you do not need college to be successful. Um, in fact, there's a lot of people that are successful that never went to college. A great example of someone who did later on go to college, but had shit grades in school was Albert Einstein. And look what he achieved. Look what people like Leonardo da Vinci achieved. I mean, for albeit he was a genius, but the fact that he had no formal training, that this was 500 years ago, and he invented the tank, and he did more than what most people could ever do with a degree. I mean, there's girls that twerk their ass on TikTok that make more money than surgeons, okay? So just think about it twice. If you want to make a lot of money, I don't really recommend college, at least in the traditional sense. Um, you don't need a degree to be educated. You need to learn to be educated. That's how you become educated. Um, you know what? You know what's funny? You know who claims that getting a degree is the most important thing to live within society? College itself. Yeah. I mean, think about it. We're a consumeristic society. Our values are built off of money, off of having a big house, off of having a degree as if that changes something about us. It gives us more credibility, even if we aren't actually more educated. There are lots of people out there that have degrees, and I've seen that are still very ignorant people. So, no, degrees do not make you somehow better than people without them. So, that's pretty much it. There's a lot more I could say, but this is just pretty much my frustration that I felt. Thankfully, I had good teachers and I had good family, but the fact that I was in a blue ribbon school, which is considered the best schools in America, the fact that is, if that was even the best, and I wasn't even, and I feel like I didn't even learn much from that, and that there are over 110,000 schools that don't have it, that I'm better, that my school is better than like 99.9% of schools, then I think there's a lot wrong with our education system to begin with. I mean, a lot of things need to change. And with the internet age, I predict that slowly more and more people are going to realize this, what I realize, and more people are going to move towards the internet and learn more online and have, people like me and other people as well that teach what they know and teach aspects of, life. Um, I mean, like I said, I make Roblox videos and I want to make science videos and things that I'm passionate about. I don't think I'm ever going to be like a huge channel because, see, with being a huge channel, there's nothing inherently wrong about it, but I feel like a lot of these, not all of them, but a lot of these larger content creators, I think they kind of sacrifice a part of themselves, of their honesty to become as big as they are. You know, and with such a broader audience, I don't think people are as understanding with opinions and views and that kind of stuff. So I'm always going to be honest. I'm never going to lie. Like, well, I can't say never, but I'm going to be as honest as I can. And unfortunately, I don't think the truth always wins. I really don't. I don't think the truth always is the thing that makes it. Sometimes sometimes if people want things to be correct even if they aren't correct, that is more likely to capture people's attention. uh, like you've heard how lies spread faster than the truth. That's true. See, I think there's a huge cycle of like ignorance, and ignorance isn't dangerous in itself, um, but it has the ability, ignorance as a tool has the ability to be taken advantage of. And false knowledge is far more dangerous than ignorance. And we're seeing a lot of that, um, in the form of false information and propaganda. Because I think our education system is so fundamentally flawed, um, a lot of people don't know how the world works. And that's sad. A lot of people don't know what the facts are and what the truth is. And that's sad. Um, so, you know, people watching this, people that watch this video, critically think to yourselves. Think twice about things you see, uh, and be honest with yourself, deep right here, deep down in yourself. Is this the path in life that I want? I may not make as much money as someone with a doctorate's degree, but at least I'll be happy in knowing that I'm actually doing something that I enjoy. Because those are the values in life. It's not the superficial values. The values of our passions are what matter in life. In an educational sense, learn about what interests you. Learn about that subject and keep doing it and don't give a shit what anyone says. Okay? You can do what you want to do in life. You can do whatever you want to do in life and become successful and rich from it. But that's another time. Uh, I'm just a normal guy, okay? Uh, but that's about it. And that's my rant. And I hope things, no, I don't hope things. I'm going to make things better. See you guys later.